If someday you were to visit the Scarloy Railway, you may come across a very old-looking engine. No, it's not Scarloy Irenaeus, but Duke. He had worked on the Scarloy Railway for about 10 years at that point, hauling his famous picnic train, and working up at the quarry for quite some time. Ever since Duke was found and brought to the Scarloy Railway, Peter Samser Handel never left his side. They were like a family, inseparable, and looking out for one another. Though Duke was wise and experienced, he wasn't above making a couple mistakes of his own. One such mistake nearly put him out of commission. Permanently. Before Duke's overhaul, a lot of unfortunate mishaps would occur out of nowhere. Pipes leaking from every small crack, ashes clogging the boiler tubes, making it difficult to get a good head of steam. And breakdowns were quite frequent to engines like Duke. Early in the morning, as Duke was getting steamed up, his crew examined every part of him, in case there was going to be frequent leaking. To their surprise, everything seemed in order. No parts looked entirely filthy, the gauges were all at the right temperature, the brakes were fine, and it only took Duke half an hour to get steam built up.
Well, that's never happened before, at least for the past couple months. Better we head out early. They'll be amazed when we arrive 15 minutes before.
And with that, they set off into the night. It was a rather uneventful trip to the quarry, but everyone was working hard. The mine workers were digging up large chunks of slate to be loaded onto Duke's train. The foreman was definitely surprised to see Duke and his crew very early. "What's this then? Did you get some help from one of the Scarloy engines? Perhaps a handle? Maybe rusty?"
Nothing of the sort! We can't explain how, but there were no faults with Duke.
No leaking joints? No broken couplers?
Not from what we could find.
Splendid! You've arrived surprisingly early, so feel free to take a rest while we're getting your train ready. There's going to be blasting happening close to where your trucks are, so I suggest backing up a good distance away from the blasting site.
We'll keep that in mind. Thank you for the warning.
Duke and his crew agreed that it would be best to couple onto the train beforehand and get a good distance away from the blasting site before having a rest. A while later, Bertram, the mine engine, had just arrived with a trainload of explosives. The workmen hurried as fast as they could to set the charges. They made sure everyone was a good distance away before shouting, "Everyone get well back! The charges are about to go off!" Duke, having his train a distance away from the site, wasn't too worried about the blasting. However, he looked at Bertram, who was much further away from the blasting site. He began to wonder if this was a mistake, and if he should get out of here before it was too late. But time was already up for Duke. At that moment, the charges went off with a violent and loud bang! The entire valley shook, debris flew in all directions. A large chunk of slate hit Duke on the side of his left cylinder, which caused a big puncture. Hot steam and water poured out. Duke tried to brush it off, but Bertram could see he was damaged quite badly. Duke, are you okay? How much damage did you get from that hit? I'm fine, Bertram. Just a little steam leaking out from my valves, that's all. I should make it to the sheds in time. Duke, I think you need to go to the works to have it looked at. Any leak at all could spell disaster. I said I'm fine. Nothing my crew can't do to fix it. Besides, I need to deliver these to the transfer yards as soon as possible. I would recommend not hurrying, Duke. Speed requires more steam, and that's what you don't want. I'll do what I can. Duke didn't want to disappoint his crew, especially since they made it to the quarry without any mishaps. So he convinced his crew he was perfectly fine, and they started on their way. Duke struggled as he made his way out of the quarry. Steam was pouring out of his cylinders quite badly. He knew he had to do something about it. Driver, do you think you could pull back on the regulator a bit? I only ask because we're a bit low on water.
Yes, it appears we are. And we refilled at the quarry. Duke, are you alright? I mean, do you know if there's a leak anywhere?
Nope, nothing of the sort. Duke's crew didn't know why they were losing water so quickly, but they found out sooner than expected. The driver stopped the train. What? Why have we stopped?
You should know why we stopped, Duke. Why did you tell us you had a leak?
I thought I could make it to the transfer yards in time.
And risk blowing yourself up along with your crew? Your ball engine should know how risky doing this stunt can do to an engine.
The driver, still cross with Duke, went to telephone the thin controller to send an engine to pull their train. A little while later, Rusty arrived. He was very pleased to see that his friend was still in one piece.
Oh, Duke, why did you have to put your own life at risk?
I didn't want to let my crew down. We had a splendid morning. And then everything fell apart when I got this dent. I didn't think it was serious. Rusty looked at Duke and saw the guilt on his face. He knew he brought this on himself, and now felt foolish.
It's okay. These things happen to the best of us. We all get a bit stubborn sometimes, but when we're told of the mistakes we've made, we make sure they don't happen again. And I'm sure you're not the only engine that's made that sort of mistake before.
I just didn't want them to think of me as unreliable. Because how old I am.
You? Unreliable? You're anything but that. You're the oldest engine on the railway, along with Skarloey and Rheneas. I'm sure they've dealt with the same issues. That's why you get overhauls every 10 years or so. That way, you can keep working and not deal with these issues as much. We will miss you. Peter Sam and Sir Handel will definitely miss you. In fact, if they could, they would spend an entire night in Provin's Gate with you. Perhaps, if you want, I could visit you, and if there's something you want to tell Sir Handel and Peter Sam, I'll tell them when I get back.
Duke still felt guilty, but he whispered, yes, and thank you, to Rusty, as Rusty proceeded to take him to the works.